America's pastime has been a part of the Vegas community for over 40 years. And as our city grew, so did the love of the game. Now, excitement is growing for our next home team. All season long, Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network are covering athletics baseball on the field, in our community, as we build our future together. America's pastime will soon call the Valley home. Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's.
What's up, baseball fans? Welcome to Covering the Bases with the A's, the first ever Las Vegas show devoted strictly to athletics baseball. Mike Davis alongside Kevin Bollinger. Kevin, tell us what's on deck.
Well, here is the lineup for today's show. We're going to go inside the clubhouse with Jessica Kleinschmidt. We're going to talk about the return of Shea Langeliers. Plus, I sit down for a conversation with A's manager Mark Kotsay. We'll hear from Aviators manager Fran Reardon after the team won the first half of the Pacific Coast League, clinching a playoff spot. And later, a look ahead as we break down the upcoming series with the Giants. But first, a memorable debut for the A's #2 prospect.
Yes, Colby Thomas had a magic moment in his big league debut for the A's. Here's the call from Jenny Kavnar and Dallas Braden.
Into left field, and it's going to get in front of Colby Thomas. Here comes the throw home. The tag made. Colby Thomas, welcome to the big leagues.
Wow, and that throw created some momentum for the A's. Lawrence Butler went ahead and sealed the game up with a 2-run triple as the A's took the plate in the next half. Any great defense, creating offense. Let's hear what manager Mark Kotsay had to say about that play.
I mean, that's really the play of the game. If you look at the momentum in the 8th inning, there they go ahead. You know, it puts a lot more pressure on the hitters. It just changes the whole dynamic of the 9th inning offensively. So, and then you get the momentum shift in the swing with the energy that we gain from a play like that. And for that young man to make that play in his very first game, stay under control and throw a strike, says a lot about his preparation.
It's true. Look at that dot. Incredible stuff. And the next day, Thomas got his first MLB hit, a double to left. So Kevin, the 24-year-old rookie, is clearly showing out in AAA. Before, he was hitting .297, 17 homers, plus he led the minor leagues in all RBIs. But now, is a guy like Thomas ready to produce like this at the MLB level?
Yeah, I think he is. The A's kept him down in Las Vegas a little longer than others, partially to give him some time to develop, but also because the outfield's really so crowded at the big league level right now. But I know a lot of Aviators fans have asked me at games this year, why is he still here? Colby Thomas is a big leaguer, and A's fans are really finding that out right now. The defensive play, then as you said, the first hit in his first major league start the next day with that double to left. So the logical question is, with so many good young outfielders, will one of them have to be moved before the trade deadline to get some more assets in return and create a little more room and more consistent rotation levels in left field?
Hey, Kev, it's a good problem to have. Now, meanwhile, the return of catcher Shea Langeliers played a big part in taking the series from the Rays, taking 2 out of 3. The A's were close to stealing even a sweep. Now, there were a lot of positive takeaways from the series, but perhaps the biggest was the return of Shea. Now, Langeliers homered twice in the series, even crushing one to center field in his first at-bat back from injury. But Kevin, there's another rookie we need to obviously talk about, and that's Nick Kurtz coming into this series versus the Tampa Bay Rays. He was red hot, 7 for 18, 388 batting average, 2 homers and 7 RBI over his past 5 games. Before the Rays, he's just doing incredible stuff, right?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about his maturity at the plate here on this show, and that's allowed him to see better pitches late in the count. Kurtz knows, though, his job is to drive in runs. Manager Mark Kotsay has been putting him in the cleanup spot to do just that, with Butler, Wilson, and Rooker in front of him on most nights to set the table. He is a star in the making, and we're watching him emerge right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, 22 years old, and he's not letting up. And now it seems like there's just a bit of a Rookie of the Year conversation happening between Kurtz and his fellow infielder in Jacob Wilson. So exciting stuff there. What does it mean to an organization to have 2 rookies, already developing and playing at this high of a level this early on?
Well, it's really the design of what the organization has been setting up. Young talent that can develop into big league stars together. and it's happening faster than I think even the biggest optimist thought that it would. Wilson clearly still the Rookie of the Year front runner, although Kurtz definitely turning heads with the bombs that he's hitting and doing it a lot of times in clutch situations.
Yeah.
And even when that doesn't happen, like in Wednesday's game in Tampa Bay to close out series, those are learning moments on how pitchers are going to approach him at the plate in those situations. And we all know that saying, iron sharpens iron. The A's hope that all of this is going to impact all the players up and down that lineup.
All right, great stuff there.
All-Star Weekend almost here. Voting officially wrapped up. Jacob Wilson, hey, he's making some noise.
Yes, Wilson is set to take his star turn as the rookie shortstop is ahead of KC's star shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. in American League voting. Now, if Wilson starts, he'd become the first A's shortstop to start the All-Star game since Bert Campaneris in 1975. He'd also be the first ever fan-elected rookie shortstop to start an All-Star game in MLB history.
Along with the excitement of the All-Star game also comes the Futures game, the young talent pipeline taking the field. It's a great showcase for the future of the major leaguers, and the A's lucky to have two guys participating in this game. Pitcher Gage Jump and third baseman Tommy White. You can see them in action on Saturday, July 12th at 1 o'clock on MLB Network.
All right, so on deck, we're going inside the clubhouse with A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt, who has more on Colby Thomas, plus the return of Shea Langeliers. And a trip to the farm. Mariah Janos talks with Aviators manager Fran Reardon on being named first half PCL champs. And last week, we lost a member of the A's family. MLB legend Dave Parker passed away last week at 74. The man they called the Cobra was a former MVP, a 7-time All-Star, a 3-time Gold Glove winner, a 2-time batting champion, and of course, a 2-time World Series champion. Known not just for his big bat, but his even bigger personality, Parker played 2 seasons with the Oakland Athletics and a member of the 1989 World Series champion A's. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Parker family.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
We're joined now by A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. And Shea Langeliers came back this week off the injured list. We know he's a leader on this team. How important, both on and off the field for the A's, is it to have him behind the plate again?
Oh, it's extremely important, Kevin. He's such a presence in the clubhouse. And we know when you're a catcher, you have a maturation process a few years ahead of everything. And he did, Shea Langeliers went off and hit a home run to make things really interesting on Monday night. And to be a servant to the pitcher, we're always concentrating on his defense first approach and mentality. And rightfully so. He's great. He's got amazing chemistry with those pitchers. But at the same time, what he does with the bat, beautiful things happen. And some more positive news coming out of these rehab assignments. Zach Geloff had a really strong couple of games with AAA Vegas. He could be back as soon as this week. And Ken Waldichuk making great strides coming off of Tommy John surgery. He can be back sometime in July. So a lot of good help coming their way.
Colby Thomas had a huge defensive play on Monday night after just getting called up. What does it say about what Fran Reardon and the Aviator staff are doing in Las Vegas that these guys are getting called up and being able to contribute right away?
I think it's great. And Fran will say he never gets old being able to tell a guy his big league dreams are about to come true. And Colby Thomas is another highly anticipated debut. And I know people want to talk about his bat. They were a little bit worried about the strikeouts, but the beautiful thing is they're all striking out. I even asked A's GM David Forst about this, quote, issue with the strikeouts and swing and miss. And Forst said, well, Brent Rooker strikes out. So we know it's the era right now. Average is finally coming back, and that's okay. But when it comes to his defensive capabilities, when I talked to Colby last year, he said the reason why I have a lot of this tenacity when I'm in the outfield is his football background. Coming from Georgia, they know football is a religion down there, and we got to see it on full display. So it was really great to see him not holding back, and that's always kind of interesting when a guy gets his big league call up because you don't know how they're going to perform. And for him defensively, and we all saw it, it's quite the web gem for him to not only come in making his major league debut on a top level, but to get his first assist in the outfield with an already really solid defense out there is just great for him.
The pitching staff showing some signs of life here, a couple of shutouts, or getting some low runs given up. What does it say about the tweaking of the staff? They've been kind of manipulating the rotation and the bullpen. It seems to be working.
Yeah, and the beauty about some of these pitchers is they can play multiple roles. We saw JT Ginn in a starting role. He's coming out of the bullpen now, and he's been absolutely lights out. That sinker is his bread and butter, and when that's landing, beautiful things happen. There's a lot of swing and miss on that. He's striking guys out with that pitch. And Jacob Lopez has been absolutely fantastic in a lot of his recent starts. And I even asked him, is there something specific mechanically that's working for you? And he said no. And as minute as it sounds, Kevin, he did say that he's trying not to get behind in counts. He wants to make sure he gets ahead. It sounds small, but obviously if you look at the numbers there, they speak on themselves. And I think just having those couple of guys, and I mentioned some of the guys coming back out of the bullpen. Mason Miller is back to his self. They brought Sterner back, and I think some of these things are going to work out to their benefit, because Lopez came into camp after the trade. He was going to be a starter, but he came out of the bullpen, so there's some really good things. And if they can play multiple roles, like Mitch Spence, perhaps a long man, he can be an opener, he can be a starter. These are all good weapons to have on your squad.
She is A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. Jess, thanks for the time.
Thanks.
The Las Vegas Aviators are first half Pacific Coast League champs, clinching a playoff spot just a couple weeks back, but the job is far from done. I caught up with manager Fran Reardon about the second half mentality and why this group has been able to see such tremendous success so far this season.
So to be able to have that moment, to be able to accomplish so much in the first half, I know it meant a lot to the guys, it meant a lot to the staff, the organization, the fans of Las Vegas, and we're proud. We're proud to have clinched a playoff spot, home field advantage throughout, and hopefully we can do some damage come September.
While a AAA championship is the end goal for the Aviators, they need to take care of business in the back half of the season first.
We want to continue where we left off. We played great baseball in the first half, and we want to continue to do that. We want to continue to win series, win games, and get these guys ready to perform at the major league level. And I think we did a really good job of that in the first half, and that's where our focus is this half as well.
The most impressive part of the Aviators' success thus far has been their ability to continuously stack wins regardless of the transactions being made and losing some of their best players to the bigs.
We have a lot of depth in the org now. We've had a lot of contributors from AA. We've had a lot of guys, signed as free agents that have come in and done a great job. And yeah, when guys go up to the A's and there's that void that's left, we've had a lot of players step up.
Vegas is currently one game into the home-and-home series against OKC. The Comets are an opponent that the Aviators are always a bit hungrier to win against.
We did not lose but one series all first half, and it was to the OKC Comets. So, there's a little motivation there. They've had a great half. They've had a great start to the second half, and they have a lot of talent over there. So our goal is like it is for every team, every series. There's no game that we're going out there not expecting to win. So that's the expectation.
The Aviators skipper went on to tell me that while the playoff berth is exciting, they need to take care of what's right in front of them. And that's how Vegas has been absolutely dominating, even when the roster has been changing all season long. They look at the talent they have each day and make the most of that moment.
All right, coming up, we have a big-time guest. Kevin goes one-on-one with manager Mark Kotsay. Don't miss it.
And before we head to break, let's get in some quick trivia. As we've been following in our Green and Gold Throwback Series, the A's won 3 World Series between 1910 and 1913. It was a true dynasty. Now let's mix genres a little bit. During that dynastic run, how many U.S. states were admitted to the Union? Was it 4, 3, 2, or 1? You got the answer after the break.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
All right, we're back with the answer to the question. During the A's dynasty run from 1910 to 1913, how many new states did America get? The answer is 2, Arizona and New Mexico. They both became states in 1912. The 1 year in that 4-year span, the A's did not win the World Series, interestingly. Now, it's hard to imagine now with how sports discourse has evolved over the years, but the term dynasty did not exist in this way back in the early 1910s. So the team was not called it at the time. But you do the math and you find there are no teams in major American sports that had this kind of run before this team did it. And let's pick right back up on that dynasty, which usually requires about 3 championships in a short amount of time. Last week on Green and Gold, we left off with the A's 1913 championship, their 3rd World Series title in just 4 years. And we're picking it back up with 1914, when it turned out the biggest threat to this juggernaut may not have been another team, but a whole other league.
The baseball world got thrown a curveball in 1914 when the Federal League started up. They called themselves a major league, and they poached a bunch of players from American and National League squads before the season, with the promise of higher salaries. Unlike most teams in the majors, the A's didn't really lose anyone of value and had no trouble repeating as American League champs, winning the pennant by 8.5 games. Second baseman Eddie Collins won the first MVP ever by an A's player, and their dynamite offense not only led the league in runs scored, the gap was so big, the team that finished in second was closer to last place than they were to the A's. Waiting for them in the World Series was a team nobody expected to be there, the Boston Braves. They averaged 98 losses over the last decade, and they were in last place in the National League at midseason. But it's all about how you finished, and they finished the season on a tear, winning 78% of their games and running away with a pennant. They were perhaps the most unlikely team ever to make a championship series, at least until the Golden Knights did it more than a century later. The A's and their famed $100,000 infield were heavy favorites, with the actual nicknames for Boston's infield being Rabbit, Possum, Crab, and Butcher Boy. This ragtag group beat the A's up in Game 1, then squeaked out a couple of one-run wins, and on the verge of a sweep, they beat the A's 3-1 in Game 4, completing maybe the most improbable run to a World Series title in baseball history, sending the A's back to Philadelphia with a lot more questions than answers.
It's really hard to convey just how much of an upset this was. It would be like if the White Sox came out of nowhere to win the pennant this year and then swept the Dodgers in the World Series. Next week, we're going to find out how the A's were able to bounce back from this shocking loss. For now, Kevin, to you.
Thank you, Mike. There's no question that the A's went through a rough patch in May and early June, but could it actually strengthen this team in the long run? And how are things setting up for the move to Las Vegas in 2028? I recently sat down for a dugout conversation with A's skipper Mark Kotsay to get an update on the green and gold.
I want to talk about culture, because the culture of this team, it seems so solid, and it may have been tested during that rough stretch in May and June, but I think it seems like it got stronger.
Well, the culture obviously started in 23, and going through a year in 23 with experiencing 112 losses wasn't fun. But what we did was establish, the way we wanted to do things, the way we want to play the game. Some of these guys were here in 23 to experience it, but the majority of this roster now was here in 24 together. And the season that we got through in 24, started out with some rough patches, and we came together, and in July and August we played really good baseball, and they finally realized, okay, we can win, we can compete, like this is how we need to do things, and we need to be together. And I think that that really helped us through the 20-game stretch. Anytime adversity hits you in the face, it shows your character, and so our character was tested, and it's nice to see guys come out of it, come through it. We still know that we've got a lot of work to do to be a championship level team, and that's what we strive for every day.
How much of an impact does it have that a lot of these guys are all coming up together, even if they didn't maybe play all through the minors together, but most of them are young and in the big leagues together?
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, you look at the guys on the field, you've got, Max Muncy's here now, you've got Jacob Wilson, you've got Tyler Soderstrom, you've got Shea Langeliers, Rooker's the old man, and I think he's not 30 yet, or he might have just turned 30. So, and then you go to the outfield, and you've got Denzel Clark now, and you've got Lawrence Butler. This group is playing together. They should play together for a long time, and that would be great to carry this group forward and get into Vegas where there's a lot of familiarity with the roster.
Do you allow yourself to look at what this franchise could really do when they get to Las Vegas with the facilities and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm engaged in the facilities, some of the designs to the locker rooms and things. Obviously, I got to make it there. We all realize like this position, you kind of get hired and to be fired, but that's the goal. The goal is to get there, and the goal is to lead these guys, get them better, to obviously get into Vegas with a team that's ready to win, that's built to win, And so, yes, you have to have that as a goal. You have to, you know, make sure that you're focused on the now, but utilizing the future as a motivation as well.
Kotsay says with a lot of young players, there's a fine line to developing at the major league level in a win-now world. He added that getting consistency will be a huge factor in becoming a championship caliber team in the future.
All right, great stuff there. After a short break, we're looking ahead to the weekend homestand versus the San Francisco Giants. We're breaking it down after the break. A's fans get priority access to purchase season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01.
Now current A's season ticket members, Aviator season ticket holders, as well as Clark County residents who secure their spot on the priority access list will receive purchase priority ahead of the general fan. For more, you can visit athletics.com/Vegas.
All right, Kev, so after wrapping up the series with the Rays, the A's have a well-deserved day off, and then they got a new 3-game series.
Yeah, all part of a 9-game homestand that's kicking off as they go up against the Giants.
Yeah, the A's have a good set of starters set to take the mound. J.P. Sears on Friday, Luis Severino on Saturday, and Jacob Lopez will close out the series on Sunday.
Now, back in May, the A's had another 3-game series with the Giants in San Francisco. The Athletics were swept, failing to get their bats going.
Yeah, and now, Kev, the Giants are only stronger after making the trade with the Red Sox for Rafael Devers. Tell us, between him, Ramos, Flores, and Chapman, what do we have to worry about with these guys?
Well, the Giants' bats haven't really been performing a lot lately. They've been on a bit of a skid. So San Francisco getting good pitching, not the run production. The key for the series against the Giants is don't give them any momentum and a chance to turn things around. Keep those run-scoring games as low as possible.
All right, great stuff there. For Kevin Bollinger, I'm Mike Davis, and the rest of the team here at Fox 5. We'll see you next time here for Covering the Bases with the A's.